Hollywood, the factory of dreams, but also of nightmares. Immortal stars, icons shining under the lights of the spotlights, who, more than once, needed the protection of men feared by everyone. The outlaws of the asphalt. Why did the most powerful stars of Hollywood remain fascinated by outlaw bikers for decades? Today, you'll discover the truth no one dared to tell. In the heart of Hollywood, fame was not a gift, but a curse disguised as glory. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. Mansions with endless pools, luxury cars, million-dollar contracts, red carpets, and crowds screaming their names as if they were modern demigods. But behind the cameras, reality was far darker. Fame is a double-edged sword. It gives you everything, and at the same time, it takes it all away. What yesterday was adoration could become hatred tomorrow. Each glance, each stolen photograph, each incendiary headline could destroy entire careers. And worse still were the obsessed fans, the invisible stalkers, the anonymous threats that arrived through letters or phone calls. The shine of the stars always came at a price, living under the shadow of constant fear. Actors, musicians, and directors felt the pressure of a world that would not allow them to be human. They were products, idols, prisoners of their own fame. Every step outside their mansions was an exposure. Every concert or premiere an opportunity for something to go wrong. And when traditional bodyguards were not enough, when the walls of security seemed like paper, an unexpected figure appeared. They did not wear expensive suits or use sophisticated radios. They came covered in leather, tattoos, and scars. They were feared by the police, targeted by the media, but respected on every road in the country. The bikers. Dangerous, yes. Unpredictable, absolutely. But with something that neither money nor fame could buy. An unbreakable code of loyalty. Where glamour was fragile, they embodied absolute toughness. Where fame was volatile, they were permanent. For Hollywood stars, these men were not just bodyguards. They were a wall of steel, a brotherhood that protected what neither power nor money could guarantee. Two worlds that should never have crossed, did. On one side, the stars of Hollywood, designer suits, glittering jewels, red carpets, and a universe where appearances meant everything. On the other, tattooed men, bearded, in weathered leather jackets, riding steel machines that roared like untamed beasts. They were opposite universes, glamour against the road, fiction against reality. And yet, fate united them under the same roar of engines. For some actors, that first contact was pure survival instinct. They discovered in the bikers a protection no suit and earpiece bodyguard could guarantee. They weren't just hired men. They were a brotherhood that responded with ferocity and loyalty. No one dared challenge a star guarded by a pack of motorcyclists, ready to go all the way. But for others, the magnetism went beyond security. It was the attraction of a lifestyle without scripts, without cameras, without rules. A life where respect wasn't asked for, nor bought with fame or money. It was earned on the road, in the silence of the asphalt, in the direct gaze of a man willing to risk his life for his brothers. In those unlikely encounters, something unexpected was born, an alliance between rebels. The rebels of cinema who defied norms on the screen, and the rebels of the road who defied society on the asphalt. Two different worlds united by the same spirit, to live on the margins, to never ask permission, to write their own law.
And then came the day history would never forget. The usual silence of the city broke with a distant murmur, like thunder rolling closer from the horizon. At first, it was only a few engines, a metallic echo lost in the distance. But within minutes, that murmur became an unstoppable storm. The streets of Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York turned into rivers of steel. Thousands of motorcycles advanced like an organized army, though without the need for orders or banners. They were a brotherhood, a living force that occupied every corner, every avenue, every inch of asphalt. The roar of engines shook the buildings as if the earth itself recognized their power. Television cameras, photographers, and the press couldn't look away. That scene seemed ripped straight out of a Hollywood script. Stars protected by a sea of motorcyclists, moving as if they were the protagonists of an epic blockbuster. For some spectators, it was a parade of power, a spectacle mixing the elegance of cinema with the brutality of the road. For others, it was a clear warning, a message etched in burning tires and smoke in the air. The biker brotherhood roared louder than any spotlight. The stars shone on the red carpet, yes, but that day it became clear that the glow of cinema could never compare to the magnetic darkness of thousands of united motorcyclists. They weren't extras in the story. They were the protagonists of an act that redefined the relationship between Hollywood and the outlaws of the asphalt. And those who lived it would never forget it, because witnessing that collective roar was like watching the materialization of a legend, the union of the world of dreams and the endless road. Do you feel the roar of the engines? Subscribe and join this brotherhood that reveals what others prefer to keep hidden.
The press was the first to react, and it split like never before. The harshest headlines spoke of chaos, of violence, of fear in the streets. Cameras focused on the bikers as if they were a living threat, a dangerous shadow that could fall on any city. They showed images of blocked avenues, of the deafening roar shaking windows and buildings, describing the phenomenon as a direct challenge to the established order. For that sector of public opinion, bikers weren't guardians. They were a reminder that true power didn't wear a tie, but leather and steel. But there was another version, harder to silence. Other journalists, artists, and witnesses described an act of incomparable loyalty. They saw in them something society had lost, a code of honor. A brotherhood that couldn't be bought, that didn't ask for permission, that was willing to risk everything for those they considered their own. To these voices, the bikers were not criminals. They were protectors. Men capable of inspiring fear, yes, but also respect and safety. The impact went far beyond the immediate. Those wild, magnetic images carved themselves into collective memory, and popular culture absorbed them almost instantly. Filmmakers saw in that clash of worlds, Hollywood and the road, the perfect raw material for new movies. Rock music, always tied to rebellion, found in the bikers its most authentic muse, and dozens of songs were inspired by their savage image. Documentaries portrayed them as magnetic forces, suspended between myth and reality. And so, fascination became inevitable. Because while Hollywood represented the fleeting shine of fame, bikers embodied the eternal, earned respect, unbreakable brotherhood, and imposing presence on the streets. Hollywood could give idols, but the bikers, instead, gave legends.
In the end, what remained was a simple, brutal truth. Power and fame are fleeting, but the biker brotherhood, that never dies. In every roar, in every road, the fascination that for decades united Hollywood with the outlaws of the asphalt still lives on. If this story shook you, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because this is just the beginning of a journey into the heart of the biker brotherhood.